Hi everyone, my name is Dave, and welcome to Extra Credit, a video series where we take an unscripted look at topics related to local history and exploring that history. Okay, so as we normally do before we get started, just a quick reminder to visit my website. There is a link in the description. There you're going to find all kinds of information related to the topics we take a look at in this video series. Additionally, you can find me on social media. So you can follow me on Facebook, you can follow me on Twitter, and you can follow me on Instagram. And finally, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's all kinds of content that comes out here regularly. And it always takes time for it to appear on social media. By subscribing and hitting the notification bell, you're going to get all of those updates sooner than you will if you're waiting for it to come out on social media. So we're back outside. I do apologize. We're a month behind on episodes, so we did not get a May episode in. Couple of reasons, which I'm going to explain in a second here. But what we're going to do is to make up for that, we're going to double up an episode probably in August. So that way we kind of keep the normal spacing that we have. So our last episode was in April, and it's June now. And that was the episode where we had gone to Italy, and we had, I'd sort of done a little special episode, kind of wandering around there and kind of talking a little bit about sort of touching history. Now, unfortunately, we had a particularly bad April. Things were kind of progressing along right up until just after Easter. We had a great week after Easter, and all of a sudden the weather just went, and it got cold, and it started to snow, and it just took forever for the snow to go away. We got more snow in April than we got in January, February, and March put together. And so the snow really didn't go away around here until the second week of May. And so what I was planning to do was another episode on the PD where we were going to sort of explore parts of the grade. And that didn't pan out because I wasn't able to get out in April. So then we'd have a sort of a May episode. Basically what I decided to do was to sort of piggyback on what was happening in May. And that's why we couldn't get an episode out in May, is because I was busy doing explorations that I normally do at sort of that time of the year, right? There's a very limited window from when the snow goes away to when the leaves start coming out. And literally that was 3 weeks. Because again, the snow went away the second week in May. So I did my first hike on the 13th of May, and we did our last one on the sort of the last weekend in May. Right, so there was 3 weekends there that I was able to sort of get out. Now, what I was able to do is one of the last hikes, I think, or sorry, the last hike that we did. I decided to do another episode on the Kinghorn since we were already out there. So what we had done that weekend, we were up in the Geraldton area on the Friday. We had hiked the area to the east of what is known as Wildgoose Beach Road. And we had sort of started at Kenwell, and we explored sort of the mile 28 water tank, and then S and Porthos Lake. And then the following day, we were on the west side of Wildgoose Beach Road, and we went all the way up to Keemle Station. And the purpose of that hike was to explore some additional areas around Keemle. We had been there the previous May. So in May 2022, we did the hike in that area, and I had found the remains of the water tank and potentially the section house. So I wanted to go there and do a little bit of additional exploration. For one of the main reasons was that the water tank was all kind of buried in debris and material. So I wanted to sort of dig it out a little bit. So, because I was going there and I wasn't really doing anything other than going up to the station itself, or at least where the water tank and the section house were, I decided to sort of film an episode. Anyway, so that sort of melded into sort of an improvised episode of this series. And so what you're going to see is basically some highlights of that journey going from Wildgoose Beach Road. And you're going to see some things like there's a big rock causeway across Wildgoose Lake. And then you're going to see some milepost markers, and then you're going to see the remains of the siding and how it's kind of all a little bit flooded. And then you're going to see the area where the section house and the water tank is. So without any further ado, let's get into that on the field or in the field segment.
Okay, here we go on our adventure. We're leaving Wildgoose Beach Road behind. Luna's a little cranky. She doesn't want to be in the trailer. We have the trailer with us because we were out hiking yesterday, actually just over there, and we know from past experience that we want to watch how much wear and tear she gets on her paws. The only problem is that towing the trailer and the dog is a real treat, let me tell you. It's already warm. Actually, going this way is not too bad. It seems like there's a touch of a breeze. It's 8:28 and it's already 16 degrees Celsius. So we might melt a little bit here today. So our adventure here is going to take us 3 miles or so up to Keemle station. Yeah, this would totally destroy Luna's paws after yesterday. I'm having a hard time pedaling through this stuff. And again, it wouldn't be so bad if it was just me, but the trailer just bogs everything down. The bike, I can keep the bike in the ruts, but the trailer kind of sits up in the ballast, so it makes it difficult to pedal. So obviously beautiful day today. So we've been through this section kind of 2.5 times before. You can call it that. There's a telegraph pole there. So June of 2021, we were in Geraldton and I stopped here and just wanted to check out the grade, and I walked just a little ways up here. And then we did our hike here in last June, right at the beginning of June, so like a year ago, like next week. Like that. There it is. So there's the milepost marker. So there's milepost 30 down there. The other ones are going to be standing. They're going to be a little easier to see. So yeah, so we did this section up just past Keemle to where the Scroll Lake Bridge or trestle is, and then we came back in August we had to bike through here to get to the next section. So there's really no access between Wildgoose Beach Road, this road, and Kinghorn Road, which is to the west. So Kinghorn Road is at milepost 45, so 15 miles. There's no access. So in order to get to that area, we had to bike through here. So we had to bike like 3.5 miles just to start the hike. So here we're on this very long causeway. I don't remember the length of it. I'll put the length up. So this is Wildgoose Lake. This is the first of the 3 fowl lakes, as they're called. So wild goose, turkey, and then partridge. There's some ducks in the water. So here you can see some erosion. There's a series of culverts here that, because basically this cut off part of Wildgoose Lake here. So when they built the railway, they cut off part of the grade. So this would have all been connected. I don't know if one time this was a trestle and then they filled it in, or if this was built like this. Whew. It's warm already, and then like the little bit of the bugs are starting to come out. Like next week the bugs will be just, look at them flying around. It wasn't like this yesterday. There's the milepost marker. Boy. So there's milepost 31 coming up. So as we talk about on our explorations, this name of this line changed several times. The original mileage, because the line used to run from Horntane to Jellicoe instead of Long Lac to Jellicoe and then Long Lac to Port Arthur. So that's milepost 31. Originally it would have been milepost 131.8. Okay, let's hold up a second here. We're gonna check the battery. Coming up on milepost 32 soon. Should be just up here around the bend. Or closer. It's hiding in the trees, and there's a bunch of poplar trees around it. Right behind these tamaracks here. There it is. Okay, so there's milepost 32. Again, mileage on the Kinghorn. Original lines, that would be 132.8. Okay, let's take a quick break here and then push our way through to Keemle. All right. So the siding here at Keemle starts just around the corner here. So we'll see what kind of disaster awaits us. So just past this spot here is where the siding starts. You might have to let Luna go and let her walk. Somebody need a chair? Okay, so here you can see this is all the beaver. not as bad as last year. Maybe there was more runoff. Maybe some of it is dried up. It was dry here in the summer, but in the spring, it was kind of wet. Whoa, this is not good. You can actually, some of the indentations where the ties were, you can see the grade is all saturated. This is not good. So you get a big rainstorm or something and it puts a lot of pressure on this, it's going to blow. I think the beaver's done some work here to keep the water in. There's a culvert up here that the beaver has plugged. See all the debris that the beavers use? There's like bits of tie and stuff like that. So the siding is right there. Here at Keemle, you can actually see kind of that elongated area there. Oh, we're into the ballast again. So here's the culvert that's plugged up right down there. Oh. Literally, it's like pedaling on marbles. So again, there's the siding. We swing over here. So this siding was an original one, and then I think, I gotta remember here, you can see some of the indentations from the ties. Some point in the 70s, I think, they took this siding out of service. Here you can really see where the ties were. And then they converted it into a right here you can see the ties, where the ties were. They converted it into a spur, basically to house equipment and stuff like that. Like locomotives couldn't use it because couldn't support the weight. Probably small size rails, and you can see kind of how swampy and wet it is in there. And so for a while, Keemle disappears as a station, and then it comes back. It's resurrected. And it basically hangs around almost until the line is discontinued. So I think here is officially where Keemle Station is supposed to be, where the mileage mark is. And then our destination is just right up there. Hoi! There you can actually see a tie that's still there. So here, there was a section house here at Keemle and a water tank. The water tank was used up until 1931-32. So basically you have this open area here, and you look at old maps and you see a cluster of buildings, and then there were some buildings over here on this side too. Okay, let's let Looney out. Okay, she's free now. Whew. Try to find a place to park the bike. So there's some stuff around here I can show you. Again, this is not good with the shadows and stuff. So here is where the well was. So you can see the opening there. That's the well. And then over here would be the water tank. So here you can actually see one of the pads right there. So there's the dowel. And then I think the section house is over there. All right, so we got some work to do. What we're gonna do is we're gonna need to excavate as much as we can here so we can actually see something. And that will be sort of our exploration for today.
All right, so hopefully you enjoyed that adventure. It was a much nicer day that day when we were filming. So that was a couple of weeks ago. It was actually very, very warm. I think I mentioned that in the video that I was, kind of overheating a bit. Here's the dogs trying to play here. Actually, after I finished digging out the water tank and everything, I was just covered in sweat. It was just ridiculously warm today. It is quite cool. There's a very, very cool north wind. So what happened was last week was warm. Friday was very warm, and then we had kind of a front came through it. We got a little bit of rain, and so yesterday and today has been much, much cooler. The only good thing with that breeze, which you can probably hear on the camera, is it's help keep the bugs away. The mosquitoes have come out and they're just absolutely insane. They're just all over you. So that breeze has really helped to sort of alleviate that situation. So in terms of the video, it was a relatively short ride. It was only about a half an hour or so ride from Wildgoose Beach Road to where Keemle Station was. Now, there is a full version of the video, and you're going to find a link to that in the description. So if you want to see the whole thing, me riding the entire journey and sort of talking about it and kind of complaining about riding through the ballast and dragging the dog with me, you can take a look at that video as well. Additionally, in the description as well, as you're going to find links to 2 videos from the Keemle area. So the original one that we did last year, so back in 2022, and you're basically going to kind of see what things sort of look like before I kind of did any poking around or excavating. And then you're going to see the most recent video that I did, and you're going to see the water tank kind of uncovered and sort of where I think I kind of pinpoint where the section house is. And that's going to be a little bit of sneak peek, because that's not going to be coming out on social media until the fall time. So you're going to get a little bit of a sort of insight, a little preview into something that is not going to be released sort of to the wider public until later this year. Now, we are going to be doing more of these types of explorations simply because when we're going out and doing sort of our hikes, it's just conducive, because now that I've covered the entire line, it's a lot of kind of going back and sort of revisiting things. And so oftentimes I'm not recording, I'm just going to see a sort of specific location. And so that again makes it very good for doing these little extra credit type episodes. So I have a few more that I'm planning to do for this year. There's actually one that I'm hoping to do next weekend. Hopefully the weather will cooperate, and that will be our July episode. And then hopefully I'll get to some other things in the fall, because probably I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break from hiking during the summer. Anyway, so hopefully you've enjoyed this little exploration of the grade. If you have any suggestions on places that you'd like me to visit, or topics that you'd like to talk about, make sure you put them in the comments below, and that way I can sort of put them under consideration. The bugs are starting to kind of swarm around a little bit. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and again, we're going to be back next month with that next sort of Kinghorn episode. Fingers crossed, and then we'll continue with our usual episodes for the next coming months. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe and take care.